going to see that UI programming. Here UI, here it is a user interface. We can create user interactive page by using this UI programming. Here UI, here it is a user interface. We are learning here web UI technologies. Here this is the first session on this UI technologies. Web UI technologies first session. Here UI, here it is a user interface. User interactive page. Here it is user interactive page interface. This user interactive page we can create it. This user interactive page we can create it with our program, that it is possible by this UI programming. Using this UI programming we are going to create that UI page. UI page. This UI page is helpful for creating that user interface. This user interface we can create it by following these all programs. One is HTML, HTML4 and 5. Here HTML4 and 5. Second topic is CSS2 and 3. Third topic is JavaScript. Almost 20 hours I'll discuss on JavaScript. So core and advanced concepts of JavaScript I'll discuss under JavaScript. Next, fourth one is jQuery. Here jQuery. Fifth one is Ajax. Here sixth one is responsive design. Responsive design. Then seventh one will be Bootstrap. Here eighth one will be Less and SAS programming. Here ninth one is project. Generally, I'll cover these all topics in our web UI programming. I'm going to cover these all topics in the next 40-45 hours of sessions. Here, next 40-45 hours of session, I'm going to cover these all topics. Here under this, here I'm going to show you these all topics in our web UI programming. Here, to cover this content, I'll take 40-45 hours of sessions. I'll take to cover these all topics. Okay. Here, this is today is the first session on this UI programming. In the first session, you're going to learn what is the UI, what is the use of it, what is the real usage of it. Like that, you will learn something about that. Here, duration, here 40 to 45 hours of sessions. 40 to 45 hours of sessions, I'll take it to cover this all topics. Here UI, here it is a user interface. We can create user interactive page by using all these topics. Here in this UI programming time, I'm going to show you first what is UI. In the demo time, I'll explain what is UI, what is the real usage of it. After learning this UI programming, what we can achieve. And here along each topic, brief information. Brief information of each topic, you will learn it from this class. Here UI, here it is a user interface. When you enter any URL in the browser, suppose if you are entering google.com, you can see that Google home page for our application. In the Chrome web page or any browser, if you enter google.com, you can see that Google web page. Here Google web page with the search option. Here with the search option, you can see that Google homepage. So whatever you are searching here, that it will connect to server page. Here, whatever UI page you are creating, you can see in the web page. This UI page always interact with the server page. So server page always interact with database. Here in this UI programming, I'm going to show you once I click search button, this data will go to this is one UI page. This UI page definitely interact with the server page. That server page is our, here that server page is our a PHP page or a Java page or a .NET page, any server programming, Python programming, you can use it as the front end server programming. Here, every time web UI page always interact with the server page, server always interact with database. These all interactions you can see in every UI programming. In every UI programming, you are going to see these all things. Here, what is UI? UI here, it is a user interface. When you enter any URL in the browser, you can see that home page of the application. In that home page, when you enter anything there, here, that here when you enter username, password, or if you are searching anything here, that search will go to the server page. This server page always interact with database. Here this input is always going to the database. So database will give you result for our application. Database will different server programmings even use it to interact with this application. This server programming will connect to database, MongoDB, Sybase, any database you can use. That database will give you result for us. So that is the way of interaction of our UI page is interacting with the server page, server interacting with database. Here, every time this UI page is interacting with the server page, server is interacting with database. These all interactions you can see in web UI program. Always front end is interacting with the server. This is what MVC architecture. So when you enter any URL in the browser, that always connect to server program. That server program will connect to database. Here databases are here. Databases are here. MongoDB, Sybase, MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server, any database you can use it. Suppose if you check here facebook.com. So Facebook is one web page. It is using here. Here Facebook is one web page. It is using here server programming as PHP program. See, if I enter any URL, whatever page you can see, this is one UI page. This UI page, when you right click and inspect element here, now you can see that application with a HTML coding. So total HTML coding you can see here. Doc type, HTML, head and body. In this time, doc type is a document type. HTML tag, head tag, body tag you can see. Here in this HTML, here head and body. Under this body tag, you can see that content of our application. Total web page content you can see inside the body tag. So inside the body tag only you can see that total content of our web page. So this time, whenever we enter our username password definitely interact with the server page. Server has to interact with the database. Here, this is one UI page. This is totally developed by our HTML programming. Once you click submit button after entering your details, you will click submit button here. Without entering any details, if you submit it, it will give you error message. This error message is because of JavaScript. HTML is creating text boxes, buttons, radio buttons and all. Near red color error message is coming from JavaScript. Colors and font family, font style, background color, font color, these all from CSS. HTML creating text boxes, buttons, radio buttons and all. CSS is giving colors of this web page and alignment of this web page is by CSS. JavaScript is used to write. Here we are using here JavaScript. JavaScript is mainly used to write here error messages. So validation error messages, cookie creation, so something we are going to write it with JavaScript. Okay, here HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Three things we can see like this. HTML is the creating text boxes, buttons, radio buttons. Server programming is creating server page is creating that server application. Here when you enter any URLs and all, you can submit your data to server. That server page will interact with this server page is interacting with database. So if you are a valid user, then only you can submit. If you are an invalid user, you entered your username, you entered your password. But even though after something wrong in your username, unfortunately caps letter or something you went wrong. So in that case, it won't show you your inbox page. This web page, it does not show any inbox page for us. Okay, here front end page always interact with the server page. If your username passwords are wrong, it won't show you any server page for us. Sorry, it won't show you any next page, inbox page for us. It will show you error message for us. So this is what here, front end interacting with the server, server interacting with the database. These all you can see in the web page. Front end page, front end page, and this will be developed by our HTML programming. HTML is a hypertext markup language. HTML in the sense it is a hypertext markup language. Here it is a hypertext markup language. It is mainly used to write content of web page. Content of web page, we can create it. We can create it using HTML. Using HTML only, we can create content part of the web page. Content means buttons, radio buttons, text boxes, paragraphs, everything we can treat like content. Content of web page we can create it with this HTML. So what we can do it with CSS? CSS gives you alignment of the web page. CSS completely align our web page. Here CSS gives you CSS, here it is cascading style sheet. Cascading style sheet. Here cascading style sheet, it is mainly used to write alignment of the web page. Alignment of the web page. What is meaning of alignment? See here. Here right click and inspect element here. Now you can see that web page how it was developed. Here that web page is developed by HTML head and body. Here you can see that standard code of HTML will be doc type HTML head and body. So here itself you can see that doc type HTML head and body. This is totally HTML code. Here doc type HTML head and body. This is totally HTML code. Here for body tag, whatever font family, font size, whatever we have written in CSS, that CSS it is showing for us. So if I don't write the head tag, see, total alignment of the web page is missing. Complete alignment, left and right alignment of the web page, we can do it with our CSS. CSS gives you alignment part. HTML gives you content of the web page. So here itself we can show you content of web page we can create it with this HTML. CSS is giving you alignment of the web page. So and every web page standard code is doc type HTML head and body. Head tag gives you alignment. Body tag content, it is displaying here body part of our application. HTML, input button, text buttons, all we can write it with this body tag. Here body tag of the web page is used to display body part of the application. Means buttons, radio buttons, total HTML tags will learn it inside the body tag. And header tag is used to write our header information. In that header information only you can see complete alignment of the web page. So if I don't write head, practically you can observe this. If you don't write the head part, see there is no proper alignment of the web page. No proper alignment of the web page if I don't write the head tag. Okay, like this you can see that head and body for our application. Head tag and body tag you can see as the web page. Web page output will come like this. Head tag and body tag will display like that. Here header tag is used to write, head tag is used to write header information. Body tag is used to display body part of our application. Okay, this is totally about the head and body, and this is totally about the just introduction to the UI. In that, HTML is giving content of the web page, CSS is giving alignment of the web page. Okay, here what we can do it with JavaScript. Here just now I explained error message, that red color is coming from CSS, but that error message is displaying from JavaScript. Here using JavaScript we can do that validation part of our web page. Here using JavaScript we can create it here. Using JavaScript we can create alignment of the web page, as well as here using this JavaScript we can create it here alignment of the web page, or a what we call here client side scripting language. So it is browser side validations or client side validations. We can do it with this JavaScript. So all client side validations we can easily do it with this JavaScript. JavaScript gives you alignment of the web page. Here in that alignment, complete web page not only the alignment, complete web page error messages, validations, input validations. Here, those all we can do it with JavaScript. So JavaScript is giving extra functionality to our browser. We can write it by JavaScript. Because of JavaScript only, we can write functions, object-oriented programming, cookies, local storage, like that. We are going to learn some part. Those all we are going to learn in our UI programming. Here in our UI programming, we are going to create how we can create our application with our program. Here that we'll learn it here, HTML. In that HTML, we'll see that here. So JavaScript is giving validations, mainly functionality. Here functionality of web page. Functionality of web page we can create it here. Functionality of web page we can easily create it with this JavaScript. Here JavaScript is giving us functionality to our application. CSS is giving alignment of the web page. Here JavaScript is giving functionality of web page. Here next we can write it here, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery. jQuery is giving additional extra library. It's a external library of JavaScript. We call it as jQuery. Here external library of JavaScript, we call it as jQuery. Here jQuery we can add to our application. Here jQuery. JavaScript is giving functionality of our application. See here, if I write Oracle create account page, see here, Oracle create account. So if you check that, I'll show you some real-time web pages how we can develop it. Oracle create account. Okay, so now you can see that how we can write that Oracle create account page. Here if you check it, Oracle create account page, in that it is asking us to write buttons, radio buttons, text boxes, all you can write it like this. Email ID, password box, like this you can write, drop down list and all. Here radio buttons and all you can write it here. So in this time, once you click submit button, these all buttons are by HTML. These all error messages are by JavaScript. These all error messages it is displaying here. This is all error messages all by JavaScript. Here JavaScript add functionality to our application. Here this type of functionality we can add to our program by using JavaScript. Here JavaScript is adding functionality to our application. So major functionality functions we are writing here with this JavaScript. Here majorly today's session we discussed here what is the use of HTML, what is the use of CSS, what is the use of basic use of JavaScript. Okay, I'll show you some real-time websites. Here this is one UI page. this URL, from this URL we can understand this web page is interacting with front end. Front end is interacting with a server. That server is our here this front end page is interacting with a server page. Here that server page is here our Java page. This web page is interacting with a front end HTML page only, but this HTML page is interacting with a server page. That server page is our Java page. So here front end is interacting with a server. Server page is here Java page. If you check that Facebook create account page, here Facebook login.php or something, Facebook sign up page, if you check it, here in that you can see that login.php. Here from that Facebook you can understand here. See, from that URL you can understand here. This URL you can understand JSP. When these all HTML, CSS, JavaScript code is interacting with the server code is Java. So Java page is interacting here. Here if you check it, this is one Facebook page. It is interacting with a PHP. So it is using PHP server programming to write this, to display this output. Okay, here we are using here server programming as our PHP programming. PHP programming we are using as our server programming. Next we can use it here. We are using here server programming as our PHP programming. Next one, here you can see that this PHP programming we are using here. This is one server programming here. Next one, once I click submit button or a sign up button, it is showing some pop-up and it is displaying that create account page. Here this create account page also by HTML, CSS, JavaScript. After submitting, after entering all complete details, valid details, your web page will interact with a PHP page. Your web page will always interact with a PHP page. So this is what here is Facebook. So Facebook page is interacting with a server page. A server is our PHP page. So because of that PHP page, we are submitting our data to server. So because of that, you are getting that server output. Here from this, we can understand here PHP page is interacting with a server. Server is interacting with database. These all involving in the these all are involving in our UI programming. Okay, here this is one URL related to UI with a server PHP. This is one URL is interacting, our UI page is interacting with a Java page. Both will store their results, their database, they'll maintain their database, either MongoDB or SQL Server or MySQL or Oracle, any database they can use. Here I'll show you some attractive user interface, what we can develop it by learning these all topics. Here by learning all these topics, after learning all these topics, what we can develop it. See here, I'll show you AVEC Drinks Act. Here AVEC Drinks is one website. Under that you can see that how the web page is displaying their output. Okay, here AVEC Drinks is one site. Here when I click down button, here you can see that 3D effect. Here you can see that something like 3D effect. See here, it is when I click down button, see that can is coming up. Here that can is coming up when I click down button here. See, content is moving backside of it. Here this is possible by our UI programming. Using UI programming, we can achieve this type of output. Okay, so when I click down button, here I can go like this. Here this way you can see that here front end is interacting with the server. Server will store database in databases. So because of that, we'll get the result of our next page. Okay, so here front end programming is important here for creating attractive user interface. So main intention of our UI is creating attractive user interface. We can create attractive user interface by learning these all topics. Here I'm going to show you how to create our UI page, how this page is interacting with the server, how we are getting that server data. So these all we are observing here in this. This is one UI page, 3D effect you can see like this. If you right click and inspect element, every web page will show you standard code, that is doc type HTML head and body. This is common for every HTML page. Doc type HTML head and body. Doc type, here it is document type. What type of document I'm creating here, that is doc type. We can write it here HTML tag and header tag and body tag. Body tag is used to write body part of my application. Header tag is used to write header information of my application. Okay, so if I don't write the header part, so it won't show you any alignment of the web page. If I don't write the body part of my application here, if I don't write the body part of my application, it won't show you any body content for us. Okay, so this way we can show you our effect for us. Here UI page is interacting with the server page is interacting with the database. Because of all these, you can interact our front end page. Front end definitely give you output for us. This is totally about the our programming. Okay, so just one example site. Suppose if you see here useblink.com is one more site, and in that you can see that create blink something it is there. Here now you can see that here that web page is also by doc type HTML head and body. That web page is developed by doc type HTML head and body. Okay, here and you can see that web page how it is displaying. If you right click and inspect element, you can see that code here doc type HTML head and body. Here inside of it, you can see that here that application whatever we are showing here, that output will come like this. Use blink. Here that video it is displaying like this. Okay, here use blink video it is displaying like this. Here whenever we enter our username password, definitely will interact with the server code. But before entering that server code, you have to create some attractive home page. If your web page home page is attractive, then only every user will like to use your web page. If it is not properly aligned, if it is not attractive, no one will use your site. If you are developing any web page, means it should be understandable, easily understandable for the user, and it should be attractive to the user. It should be attractive, otherwise no one will use our web page. Okay, here we are discussing web UI. Under that first topic HTML. Here first topic from this resultant this sample pages. If you right click and inspect element, you can see that standard code of HTML. Here it is doc type HTML head and body. Doc type, here it is document type, head tag as well as body tag. So body tag is used to display body part of my application. Header tag is used to write header information for our application. Header tag is used to display header information. Body tag is used to display body part of my application. Here this way we can write it here head and body. This way only we can execute our program. Here doc type, here it is document type. What type of document I am using here, that is doc type. HTML tag, header tag and body tag you can see. Okay, here this way we can design our web page. Doc type, HTML, head and body, we can create it like this. Next we are going into one example site. Today I am showing just examples here, and I gave brief information about this. About this UI server, server to database. These all topics I'm going to cover. And this project session, every Saturday I'll conduct project session. And every alternate Saturdays I'll conduct project sessions. Alternate Saturdays I'll conduct weekend test. So alternate 15 days I'll give you 25 multiple choice questions. you have to complete that here. You have to complete that answers from by that you will get some knowledge in the subject. Okay, so you can analyze where you are, what is your stand, you can analyze it. These all topics, I'm going to cover you in web UI programming. Present development is going on under framework level. Framework classes are taken by the other faculty. Others, one more other faculty we have is conducting all framework classes, Angular, React, like that. Okay. Here, if you complete UI programming, or parallelly once I start JavaScript, that day onwards you can parallelly start any framework. So with that framework, it will be helpful to complete your subject as soon as possible, and you can apply for the UI front-end developer position. Yeah. Here, this is today's session. Today I discussed just brief information about that, and everyday files will be uploaded in one drive, one Gmail drive. The drive you can check it like this. Yeah, 9 p.m. drive, weekend test, programs, paint files, documents, and everyday recordings. This drive will be shared with you. So by that you can learn the content. Up to now, any doubt? Yes, please. Up to now, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Yes, any doubts? Up to now, we have completed our session. So up to now, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Yes, please. Any doubts? Yes, up to now, any doubts? Okay, no response. So we'll continue tomorrow at 6 p.m. for the continuation of demo. Today we have done the introduction of UI. What is UI? Where what all the topics will cover in coming sessions, and how my class goes, and where I'll upload, means how you will get notes and all, and what all the sample sites we can develop it by learning all these topics. What all the sites we can develop it. These all I explained today. Tomorrow session I'll continue with the tomorrow session I'll continue with the continuation of few more things. Okay. That's it for today. We'll meet tomorrow 6 p.m. I'll continue my class. Thank you. Yes, I'm going to discuss. This is web UI programming. Under this, we are going to discuss these all topics: HTML 4 and 5, CSS 2 and 3, JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax, responsive design. Then seventh one will be Bootstrap. Eighth one will be less and SAS programming. Here ninth one is project. So generally I'll cover these all topics in our course. Here I'm going to cover these all topics in our course. Here in this UI, here it is a user interface. I can create user interactive page by using this UI technologies. So first of all, what is UI? So we'll discuss that. Here UI, here it is a user interface. Whenever you enter any URL in the browser, you can see that home page of the application. Here home page of that application, you can see that home page. Here whatever the home page you can see in the web application, whenever you enter any URL, suppose if you enter facebook.com in the browser, if you enter facebook.com, here facebook.com, if you enter facebook.com, you can see that Facebook homepage of the application. Facebook home page, you can show to the user. Home page of the Facebook, you can show to the user. Here, this time what happened here, when I show that Facebook web page, in that time, that Facebook page, whatever you can see here, that page you can easily develop it. Here, when I enter any URL, I can see that home page. This is one UI page. Whatever text boxes, buttons, radio buttons, whatever you can see in the create account page of the Facebook or something. Here, if you check that Facebook page, see here, it is asking us to enter their email ID, password, login. So if I enter my username, password, and if I click submit button, data will be submitted to server. Okay, username, password. Once I click submit button, here, once I enter my username and password, once I click submit button, the data will be submitted to server. So this time what happened here, when I enter my username password, if I click submit button, data will be submitted to server page. In that time, your data will connect to database. From the server programming, this is one URL. This URL is interacting with a, here this is one Facebook URL. URL is interacting with a front end. Here, whatever UI page it is showing for us, that is one UI page, user interface. This user interface is interacting with a PHP page. That PHP page will connect to database. Here, databases are MySQL or SQL Server or Oracle or Sybase, any database you can use it. Here, when I enter my username, so I can connect to server page. See here, I'm able to show you that server page here. Is it PHP or not? You can check it here. See, you can see that this page is by, here, forgot password. See here, login.php. So from this URL, you can understand this PHP page is using, this Facebook page is using PHP as the server page. So PHP programming we are using as a server programming. Here front end page is our UI. UI is interacting with the PHP page. PHP page is interacting with the server page. So these interactions you can observe here in every front end programming. So always front end programming, UI page is interacting with the PHP page is interacting with database. These all interactions you can see in a web page. Here UI page, in that UI page you can see that here UI is interacting with PHP is interacting with database. These all interactions you can see in a web page. So this time what happened here, when I enter my username password, definitely it has to interact with the server page. So this time what happened here, after submitting your data will store in database, so it will access our details. See here, after entering your username password here, if you click submit button, your data will reach to PHP page. That PHP page will connect to database. So because of that, we'll get the, if I am existing user, then I'll get that next page, inbox page for my Facebook. If I'm not a existing user, that case it will give you here. If I'm not a existing user, in that case it will give you information for us here. If I'm not a existing user, if I'm existing user, then I'll get the next page for my application. If I'm not a existing user, then it will redirect me to error page. So it is showing here error page for us. That error page we can show to the user like this. So this way you can see that here Facebook page is interacting with the server, server is interacting with database. These all interactions you can see in a web page. Okay, this is one introduction of UI. Just 1 second. Yes, thank you. Here we are discussing here. This is one UI page. Here this Facebook page is interacting with the server page. That server is our PHP page. PHP page is interacting with MySQL. Okay, this way you can interact. Here, this is one UI page. Here, if you check that create account page or anything, here you can see that here, that create account page, whatever we are, or a login page, whatever we can see here, this UI page is interacting with the server page. If I enter a valid username, valid user ID, valid email address, valid password, then only I can see my inbox page. Otherwise, I cannot show any inbox page for us. So if I'm an existing user, then only I can show you valid username password. If I'm not an existing user, see here it is asking this, is it your mail ID? No. So here if you click for forgot password, again it will ask you something. So accordingly you have to enter. So different pages, whatever you are seeing in your web page or a mobile app or a desktop app or a tablet, any device, you can use it. If you are seeing any application here, this is one UI page. UI page is a user interactive page. It will give you text boxes, buttons, radio buttons, drop down list, like that, all complete attractive user interface and understandable user friendly interface we can create it with our web UI. Here Facebook page is one example for UI is interacting with a PHP. So if you check here Oracle create account page, here if you check that Oracle create account page, here Oracle create account. So here if you check that Oracle create account page, under this, see here, if I click here, you can see that Oracle create account page. In that, again it is asking for email address, password. I cannot use my Facebook email address in the Oracle website. I cannot use Yahoo account in Oracle or Oracle account in Yahoo. Why? Because every web page will ask you to log in. Log in means I have to complete my registration. If I'm existing user, then only I can use these all. And if I'm not an existing user, I cannot use these all. So this way, here we are creating our account. We are submitting our application form. Here, this way we can create it. So here, when I enter my username password, so by that I can submit my application form. So by that I can easily interact with the server page. If I'm existing user of this Oracle, then only I can submit it. If I am not an existing user, I have to create my account here. After creating account, then only I can I can log in for this application form. So this is what here totally UI page. UI, this is one user interactive page. Here, this is one example for UI is interacting with Java page. Java is interacting with a server programming. Here UI page is interacting with the Java page is interacting with database. So database generally will show you any Oracle or my MongoDB or MySQL or SQL Server. Some database will use it. Okay, so we'll use some database, by that we can access it. Here every time front end page is interacting with the server, server is interacting with database. These all interactions you can observe here in every front end programming. In every front-end programming, you can see this type of interactions. Here, UI is interacting with the PHP, PHP is interacting with database. So these all interactions you can see in every web UI programming. Here, now when I enter my username password, I can submit my application form. Here, total duration to cover these all topics, I'll take next 40 to 45 hours of sessions. Next 40 to 45 hours of sessions, I'll take it to cover this content. Okay, total these all topics I'm going to cover next these many hours. And every Friday, every Saturday, Monday to Friday, I'll take topic session, and every Saturday, usually I'll take project session. Okay, every Saturday, I'll take project session. So like that, I'll continue my class. Monday to Friday I'll take topic session, Saturday I'll conduct project session here, and these all these all topics I'll continue. First 2 weeks I'll suppose first 2 weeks, first two topics if we completed. After 2 weeks in the Saturday session I'll give you 25 questions, 25 multiple choice questions I'll give to you. So you can answer to that questions. By that you can understand how much you understood from that topic. Like that, every alternate weekend I'll conduct exam. So by that you can understand uh, how you are practicing, where is your stand, and how you are how you are able to write the answers, that you can understand from that exam. Here UI page is always interact with the server programming. That server is not comes under our course. Only we are going to discuss these all topics. If you want to be a server-side developer, front-end developer, you have to know all these topics. Along with this, you have to know any one framework in JavaScript. If you know any framework in JavaScript, then you can be a front-end developer. Frameworks are Angular, React, Node, any one framework, Angular JS, Angular or a React JS or a Node JS or a Vue JS, like that. Different JS are coming into our working environment. So if you complete any one of the framework, then you are eligible for join as a front-end developer, front-end developer from UI side, in UI side. Okay, so different development environments will be there. Server side developers are Python developers, PHP developers, Java developers, like that. We have all different developers we have. So we'll use that development here. We'll always use that development for developing our application. Okay, here we are interacting with our front-end page. Front-end page always interact with the server. That server, if you want to be a full stack developer, you have to know these all front end related framework, and server related framework, database with a complete PL, SQL, complete database. If you know all those topics, then you will be a server side developer, sorry, complete full stack developer. If you know front end, if you know server code, if you know database, as well as testing and migration, so sorry, testing and integration of code and deployment of the code. If you know all those, then you can be a front end complete full stack developer. So full stack developer should know all three things.